My reasoning for why they move Stafford is a coach does blow up rebuild for picks. Stafford wants to win a ring before retirement, plus as a favor to Matt.
That's my reasoning too, right? I think that the way the Niners get Matthew Stafford is if Matthew Stafford wants out. But that's where I don't know.
That's to me, if he's like, look, guys, I've been real loyal for 13 years, enough is enough. Then that's that. That's that.
Right. Yep. I want to go to a place where I can actually prosper. Totally understand it. That's always been my angle. But you know what? He built a big house in Michigan. I know that he does a lot for the Detroit community, and I think he's involved, even though his wife really hates Michigan. I don't know how she would coexist, happy wife, happy life. I don't know how she would coexist in
I'm sure
San
she would love
Francisco.
the Bay Area. I'm sure she would just love it. Because
Who knows?
Michigan is way too liberal, right?
Right. Who knows? But yeah,
I get the feeling that Stafford's going to be a career Lion. I could be wrong.
Well,
same thing you said about Ty.
Don't say that.
I'm so sorry. Okay, hold on. Let's move on. Getting a lot of questions today. Thank you. Hold on. I can read it and then I'll find it. Thoughts on Jameis Winston? I guess we already did that one. Sorry, we don't like Jameis Winston. Anything else? Any other questions? We're about an hour and a half in. Okay. How about keep Jimmy Garoppolo and sit Lance? Trade Jimmy Garoppolo at the end of the season if he has a decent year.
So keeping Jimmy Garoppolo isn't a bad option if he wasn't getting paid $27
That's to me the issue. The issue with Jimmy is the contract and the cap going down. That's what it is.
If the cap wasn't going down, this would actually not be a bad option at all. Just draft a guy. You still have Jimmy. It would be actually the only safe and option that you can say for sure the Niners can still be good next year because he's a solid player. But when you have a cap going down and you have to give two large contracts out, one to Fred Warner and one to Trent Williams, and you have 30 guys to look at, this is where just getting Jimmy off the books just changes who you can bring back and all of that. And that's why this entire conversation is so complex, and it's such a difficult spot for the 49ers because they could be in a position where they have no leverage to get the guys they want. And that's where you might not be getting an upgrade from Jimmy, and it could totally change the landscape and where the franchise moves from there.
To me, every team is going to have a cap casualty because of the cap either going down or not going up. Every team is going to have a COVID cap casualty. And I think on the Niners, it's Jimmy. I think he fit their salary structure if the cap were to keep rising the way we expected it would before the world fell apart. But the world fell apart.
Yeah, if we weren't amidst a pandemic and we just had the normal cap, Jimmy's contract for the level of quarterback he is, every quarterback is, besides the top guys, is overpaid in some capacity. But Jimmy's contract would have put him as a middling quarterback, which is kind of what he is. He's a middling player. So I don't think people would be over scrutinizing it. But now the cap is going down. It's total unknown. And having him being paid highly is going to be a problem. And I think we're going to see a lot of highly paid quarterbacks like Matt Ryan. What's Atlanta going to do with that? Jared Goff. Yeah. What's the Rams going to do with that? Carson Wentz. What are the Eagles going to do with that? They have all those teams ask those same questions.
Big Golden Nuggets is peddling misinformation over here. He says it's only $16 million in savings if you cut Jimmy Garoppolo. Wait a second. 2021, his cap number would be $26.9, and the dead money would be $2.8 million. So my math isn't great, but I think that's $24.1 million in savings if they cut him. Am I missing that?
No, that's right.
$24 million. That's a lot of money, and they can use that to do the moves they need to do. They felt last year that DeForest Buckner couldn't fit in their salary structure and moving him would create all the space they needed for everyone else. Now it's Jimmy's turn. Now Jimmy is the DeForest Buckner of 2021. Sorry, dude.
He might still end up being successful somewhere because he's a solid player and you can win with Jimmy Garoppolo. It's proven. And some coach might do that. But you know what? For the 49ers right now, just the way Kyle Shanahan feels about him and all of that, it's just the best decision to move on.
Well, I think the Niners' biggest issue with Jimmy beyond the cap, beyond the contract, beyond the injuries, is his football IQ. I think it's pretty clear that they just don't feel his football IQ matches his arm talent, which is fine. But I can't help but notice that Patriots quarterbacks tend to all look really smart when they're playing in New England. And even Tom Brady, when he went from New England to Tampa, all of a sudden he's throwing more picks, making more decisions where you're like, ooh, you didn't do that in New England. So maybe there's something about that system, their elaborate series.
It's supposed to be totally different.
Yeah, I think they do a very good job of making the decision-making process easy for quarterbacks in New England.
Yeah.
They give a lot of pre-snap indicators. You're not turning your back to the defense very much. And there are very clear pictures of where to go as opposed to in this offense and other offenses. So yeah, Jimmy could do really well in New England. Hell yeah, he could.
Yeah. So I'm a big Chris Sims fan, right? And he worked in New England for a year as a quality controls. And he said that their offense, their verbiage is totally different. And two, every week they have 5 or 6 plays that they can call and it can be any coverage. They come up with Josh McDaniels schemes up where it's not if you see 2-man check to this, if you see this check to that. They're in 2-man, these are your reads. If this is that, this is your, and they have kind of plays that can be any type of coverage. And so they have stuff like that. He got to sit for 2 years learning that system. Most of their quarterbacks, they sit down and have them learn it for a while and get them comfortable. So it's totally different. And I wouldn't be surprised if he goes back there and is a solid player, because he is a solid player for the 49ers. I just don't think that the Patriots would have the same questions that Kyle seems to have about him.
Also, Shanahan's system is built on explosive plays and downfield throws. And that's not Jimmy's game. Jimmy
and he's not willing to throw them.
He's not a great downfield thrower. He's not a willing downfield thrower. He is a New England short to intermediate passer. It's what they want to do. It's not particularly what Kyle wants. He's just a much better fit in New England. I hope he gets to go back there because I think he really could have a long career there if he can just stay healthy. That's the thing.
And I think New England really values quarterback personality. They want the down-to-earth kind of just one of the guys type guy because that's what Brady was. That's what Jimmy is. I don't think Kyle really cares about that. He likes Kirk Cousins, who's got the worst quarterback personality in the NFL. There's too many moments of teammates questioning him and he's way too good a player to be questioned like that. So yeah, I just don't think that he's just a great fit.
Big Golden Nugget said the way he got to $16 million is he's counting on an $8 million bridge quarterback. I wouldn't want to spend $8 million on a bridge quarterback. You don't even like that much in a year that the cap's going down. You can get guys for like less than that. I mean, if Andy Dalton needs $8 million a year, good luck, Andy. I mean, he's not going to win games.
I would do it for Andy.
I don't know. Maybe.
How much?
What's he making right now?
Well, I think it's 5 or 7.
Yeah, 5. 5's fine. I would do 5, but 8? What's Fitzpatrick going to command? I mean, he's old. 8?
No, I'm not touching Fitz.
I don't know. Anyway,
the moment you touch Fitz after Fitz magic is there for a year, you get Fitz tragic. Don't give me Fitz tragic.
Also,
please.
if you draft a quarterback and you sign Fitzpatrick's going to beat that guy out. It's going to happen.
Depends.
Unless you get Trevor Lawrence. If
he's contented with his money, he might not.
It's Trey Lansing. If it's Trey Lansing against Ryan Fitzpatrick in training camp, good luck, Trey. Good luck, buddy.
That's my thing with Kyle. We're talking about a coach whose first priority for his quarterback besides toughness, we broke this down, right? I think last week is knowing where to go with the ball within the offense. That means you need full command, and it's a tough offense to learn from how wordy it is and all of that. Kyle makes it easy for the quarterback, but the words and all of that is tough. So
real quick before we end, I think we wanted to talk about Mullens in the sense that this is why Mullens wasn't benched.
Yeah,
this is why they stuck with him, even when all you guys were saying get rid of him. Explain it, Vince.
So I have a different theory. Like, yes, Mullens is better than CJ, right? I think we can agree about that.
Well, Kyle said it. I mean, we all
yes. But to me, the reason I think they were sticking by playing Nick Mullens through all those turnovers and everything is because I think they were confident that they could bring Nick Mullens back. And I don't think they were confident about bringing CJ Beathard back, which means that there's no point in playing CJ Beathard for 3 games because what are you going to get out of it? But playing Nick Mullens, hopefully you can get another Giants game and you can build on it to the next year where he might once again have to start 2 games if you get rid of Jimmy and the rookie quarterback that you draft is not ready to play, or you don't get a Matthew Stafford. So that means you just bring in another guy in camp to compete with Mullens, and maybe you're stuck in a situation like that. So I understand. That's where I think that's why they kept sticking by Nick Mullens. I think it was the fact that they were pretty confident that he would be the guy that comes back and CJ wouldn't. I think that's what
I think you're absolutely right. I think you're absolutely right. They saw Nick Mullens as their backup of maybe not long term, but at least the immediate future.
Because they can tender him and bring him back for $3 million. Yeah,
that's right. So that's why they stuck with him, and I think that makes sense. Real quick before we go, Black Samurai says, all things aside, Stafford would only cost $20 million next year due to signing bonus of $10 million. It's true. Lions would be on the hook for Jimmy. Yeah, I mean, he makes all the sense. If the Niners can get Matthew Stafford, God love you. Go for it. A+ offseason. I just don't think it's going to happen. But if it does, Vish gets the credit. Vish pulled that off. I don't want to hear Parag beating his chest. No, it was Vish.
No, Parag can beat his chest. I'm a Parag guy.
Angel says Gardner Minshew, he's better than Jimmy and Goff, arguable better at throwing than Murray, and he's cheaper than them. We could have him for a 4th or a 5th.
Wait, which Gardner Minshew are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Gardner Minshew isn't a bad backup quarterback.
No, he's fine.
Yeah, Gardner. Yeah, Gardner. Yeah, nah. 4th or 5th is too rich for Gardner Minshew. Though I think he's another reason why the Jacksonville job is kind of viable because I think he's a legit backup quarterback, and now you get Trevor Lawrence and a legitimate backup.
Do they draft 1 or 2 quarterbacks this year?
Who?
The Niners.
Jacksonville. The Niners.
Wow. I think they need 3 quarterbacks. I think they need a new rule because I'm not saying they're going to get rid of Nick Mullens, but Nick Mullens isn't going to play next year. I don't think.
Yeah, so I do agree with you that they need 3 quarterbacks, especially because I think we've all subscribed to the mentality that Jimmy's cut is inevitable and it's a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, casualty.
But I just, how can you waste 2 different picks on quarterbacks when you've got a team that you're looking to push to win now and you've got a couple other roster holes that are opening up and you got to fill real quick, just like that. You got to bring in starters. You can't. If you don't bring back Tart, you can't go into the season with Moore and Jimmy Ward. You got to bring in someone to compete with him. He's not ready to just be handed the starting job. Then you'll be stuck in the Adrian Colbert type situation.
Also, you don't know how many games Jimmy Ward's going to give you in a given year. You just don't.
Right.
So
and even if you bring back Tart, it's still the same question for him thus far in his career. Both Ward and Tart have been great when they played, but they've also had a lot of injuries.
Man, the Niners really could use 12 draft picks this year. Well, they'll figure it out, and we'll do our best to help them out.